time you choose to do something that feels like it's outside of who you are, every time you make a decision to shrink who you are to appease somebody else, you are losing authenticity. We're going to get into it today.
I don't know how this thing works, but screw it, I'ma do it anyway. I don't know how this will turn out, but screw it, I'ma do it anyway. I don't know how this thing works, but screw it, I'ma do it anyway. I don't know how this will turn out, but screw it, I'ma do it anyway.
What is up, good people? It's your girl, Nikki P. Welcome back to another episode of Soul Untamed, where we are talking about creating a life that is designed by you and not for you. So today I'm going to be talking a bit about authenticity and the fear that keeps us from living our authentic selves. I think a lot of what keeps us from actually living in authenticity is that we are constantly being fed so much information because we're constantly on our phones, we're constantly looking at social media, we're constantly looking at what somebody else identifies as the thing to be, whether it's in who you should be in this generation, whether it's who you should be in business, in your job, as a wife, as a mother, as a single, as a, whatever. And we get fed all this information. And I think sometimes what makes it hard to live in authenticity is, one, we don't actually even really know who we really are because we're so busy letting the noise of what everybody else is telling us that we should be doing for whatever reason, that we start to adopt that identity and we think this is who we are. So then we start doing these things that other people are doing and taking them as our own. And then this is the energy that we show up in every day. And then we're still unfulfilled, but we're not recognizing that as we're not showing up as our authentic selves. I also think that another reason why that we don't is that there is a fear of judgment. Depending on what you do, if you are a content creator like me and you're putting yourself on, out there for the world to see, there is a level of fear that if I really show my true self, how is that going to be received? Because these people, I swear, these people in these comments, man, like no mercy. People real brave, behind a laptop, behind a phone, and there is that fear of, showing your heart, showing your vulnerability, and people looking at you like you crazy, and even more so telling you that you're crazy. So some of us will shrink back because of fear of that judgment. And then for bringing it a little bit closer to home, you can have fear of how even your inner circle will look at you, your family, your friends. You going out here, you have this big idea to take your business to a whole nother level, and you got somebody in your family looking at you crazy, talking about why you over there trying to do that? Or what's the point of that? Well, that ain't gonna work. And you feel judged in that, so then you want to shrink back who you are. Say you're the person that every time there's like a family dinner or whatever, and you're the person that's always talking about trying to better yourselves and what we should be doing with our money, and then as you're talking about it, you have somebody in the room talking about, here they go again, here they go with that, and then you start to feel like, oh, well, I can't be this way here, I can't shine here because I'm going to be rejected in this space. I think all of those reasons are why we don't show up in authenticity every single day. And so I think that one of the first things to understand is ask the question why for you. Ask the question why. If you are feeling like you're being inauthentic, let's first even start with that, identifying if you really are showing up as your authentic selves, like taking areas of your life and really auditing them and saying, is this really me? Like every time you pick up another habit because you saw it done somewhere, you're trying something, does it feel like you? I think start there. And if you do feel like it's inauthentic, if you do identify areas in your life where you feel like you're not being authentic to yourself, then asking the question, why? Are you afraid? Are you afraid of how you'll be perceived? Are you afraid of just the judgment, just what it takes to be vulnerable, you know? However, even with knowing, that's just the first step of knowing, the identifying the places you're being inauthentic, and then also identifying the why. Now, here are some keys after you've done that part. Here are some keys to move past that and to not be as afraid and worried about people, and how to really show up authentically every single day in your life. So the first thing is release the need for universal approval. And I'm saying that like it's easy, but a lot of times it's not. If you have cared what people thought for a very long time, it is a whole different mindset to go from that to, you can think how you want to think. That's okay. That's your truth. This is mine. It takes something, to get to that point. But I do believe that is one key to not being afraid. Release the need for approval. At the end of the day, you are the one who has to live with your decisions. You are the one who has to answer to you. When you get to the end of your life and you're looking back over your life and you're looking at the different choices and things that you've made along the way, the impact that you've had or could have had, the legacy that you're leaving behind. When you look back at that, do you think that you are living true to who you are? You know what I mean? And releasing the need, because all those people that are judging you, they are not going to be there. They're not going to be there in those final moments. You have to come face to face with you. And that is it. So that is the first key, is releasing the need for universal approval. Second key, listening to your inner voice. This right here is what guides us, or at least that's what should be guiding us. Listening to your inner voice, leading from this space. What feels true to you? Shutting out the noise of everybody else, but what is true to you? And then the last key that I will give you is, it may be too big a thing for you to go to, especially if you are living completely inauthentic to who you are. It's a big stretch from going to that version of you to this other version of you that is truly authentic. Try breaking it down into small steps. What can you do every single day that will make you feel more in line with who you are? For me, I like to express who I am. I'm very big into individuality. I like things that make me unique. So one of the things that I do every day to make me feel more authentic to me is in how I dress. I'm a person that likes to wear, things that stand out. I always wear 2 different sets of earrings. I wear different types of jewelry. I like spiky jewelry. I have like somewhat of a little bit of a punk-ish, like Hot Topic kind of, vibe when it comes to the type of jewelry that I like to wear. But in a lot of spaces that I'm in, it requires me to dress, in a more professional manner. But in order for me to stay authentic to me, because I can't show up in some spaces fully, punked out and gothed out, like I can't do that. So what I do that makes me feel authentic to me is I express myself through my jewelry. I express myself through my hair. I add color to different things. I wear, like, even in my nails, all of those things Even something that simple makes me feel authentic to me. When I look in the mirror before I go out the door, I feel like I am authentically expressing who I am. And it's little. It's little. It's nothing big. I'm not marching into a room and hitting the room with this massive amount of energy. No, but I'm doing something small that makes me feel good, makes me feel like I'm aligned with who I am. You know what I mean? So for you, yes, it can feel like a big thing to like do a full switch, but try to identify just little areas where you can show up authentic every day. It could be in the way that you express yourself, like saying an opinion that you normally would keep to yourself for fear of being rejected. You taking a picture of something that you might feel like is silly, but something that makes you feel so much joy. That is your authentic joy. So take a picture of that and plaster it on social media. Don't plaster it, post it. But you know what I mean. Post it on social media and feel good about that. You know, make choices in how you spend your money. And if it's something that aligns with you, do that in your morning routine, in your evening routine, in your business, in everything that you do. Find ways that you can show up authentically, because I'm not even going to try to tell you about it being anything deep about the importance of showing up authentic. It just feels good. You don't have to pretend. You know how freeing that is to show up in the spaces being you? You know how much energy it takes to not be you? You know how much energy it takes to put on clothes that feel uncomfortable because it's not your style, but somebody else told you, oh, well, if you want to, be in this particular room, you have to dress this particular way. Or even get your hair a certain way. You wearing a style that you don't even like. You looking in the mirror and you like, what is this? And you don't even like how you look, but you're doing it because somebody else told you that that's what you're supposed to do. Even if you're a content creator like me, because there are tons of strategies and things out there that they tell us to do in order to get the engagement and impressions and the stats, and you have to do this and you have to do that. But if you are not being authentic, it is a trap. It feels like prison. Like, what are we even doing? If I can't be authentic in my business, I might as well stay at the 9 to 5. What is the point of me moving from one area to another area and still being the same old, like, I'm almost like being in a straitjacket? That's literally what it feels like for me, to be anything but who I am. It doesn't feel right. I have to curb how I talk. I have to, I gotta change the way I dress to be in certain spaces. I gotta wear a certain hairstyle. I gotta have on certain jewelry because what I have on doesn't look professional enough. I can't rock like that. And you shouldn't rock like that either. So the point to all of this is be who you are. Be who you are. Don't shrink to drop to somebody else's expectations of who you're supposed to be. At the end of the day, you have to live with you. You're the one that has to look at yourself in the mirror every single day. And you're the one that at the end of your time here on this plane, you're the one that's going to have to sit and have to think about how you have spent your life and how you have shown up every day. And the people around you deserve to get to know the real you. The people that you have influence over, that you are impacting, they have the right to get to know the real you. So show up as the real you. And don't let all of the noise make you think you have to be somebody different. That is it for me today. I don't think this was a long video, but thank you if you're still here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you on the next one. It's your girl, Nikki P. What's up, good people? Thanks for watching this video. If something resonated with you, please give it a like, share with a friend. Also leave me comments just to say hi. Tell me how you're feeling. And if there are any other topics that you want me to cover, please feel free to let me know. And if you like this and you want to hear more, please hit that subscribe button. And I will see you in the next one.